Most men don't lose women because they do something wrong. They lose them because they don't understand what matters most while everything still looks fine. No arguments, no drama, no clear warning signs. Just one day, her tone changes, her energy fades, and the connection quietly slips away. And by the time you notice it, it's already too late. Stay with me till the end of this video, because once you understand this psychological advantage, you'll see exactly where most men lose women without realizing it. And subscribe, comment ready, because what's coming next will change how you protect attraction before it starts slipping. Why this happens: women don't leave emotionally all at once. They disconnect in stages, slowly, silently. And most men never notice the first stage. Here's the truth: women don't stay because of effort. They stay because of emotional positioning. When a woman feels emotionally secure and emotionally stimulated by a man's presence, attraction stays alive. When that balance breaks, attachment weakens. Male advantage psychology is not about control. It's about awareness. A man loses his advantage the moment he stops leading the emotional frame and starts reacting to it. And the danger is this: everything can look normal on the surface, while emotionally, she's already drifting. That's why understanding the early loss signals matters more than fixing things later. Let's break down the first signs. Sign 1. She stops responding to your emotional lead in a healthy dynamic. A woman naturally responds to a man's emotional direction. If you're calm, she settles. If you're playful, she opens. If you're grounded, she relaxes. But when the male advantage begins to slip, something changes. You set a tone, and she no longer follows it. You bring calm, and she stays distant. You try to lift the energy, and she stays flat. Real-life example. You send a light message like you always do, but her reply feels neutral. Not cold, just empty. She answers, but she doesn't join the moment. This isn't disinterest yet. It's misalignment. She's no longer emotionally syncing with you, and that's the first quiet warning most men ignore. Sign 2. She feels comfortable with distance instead of pulled back in. When attraction is healthy, distance creates pull. A little space makes her curious. A pause makes her lean in. But when the advantage is fading, distance feels normal to her. You don't talk for hours, and she doesn't check in. A day passes, and she doesn't feel the urge to reconnect. Not because she's angry, not because she's testing you, because emotionally, she's already adjusting to less of you. Real-life example. You get busy and don't message all day. Before, she'd reach out or reference it later. Now, nothing. No tension. No curiosity. Comfort with distance is dangerous. It means the emotional bond isn't pulling anymore. Why medium star sign 3? She no longer reacts emotionally. Only logically, this is one of the clearest early signs. When a woman is emotionally engaged, she reacts with feeling. Tone changes. Curiosity. Warmth. Emotion. But when the male advantage weakens, her responses become logical instead of emotional. Short answers. Neutral agreement. Practical replies. She responds, but she doesn't feel in the interaction. Real-life example. You share something meaningful, and she replies with a correct response, not an emotional one. No follow-up. No curiosity. Just acknowledgement. That shift tells you something important. Her emotional investment is decreasing, even if communication continues. These first signs are subtle. Most men miss them because nothing looks wrong yet. But in next, we go more deeper into the behaviors that show she's slowly detaching emotionally while still staying present. These are the signs that reveal when attraction is fading quietly and how men lose their advantage without ever realizing it. Till here, we talked about the early shifts, the quiet moments where attraction starts losing direction. Now we move into the middle phase, the phase where most men feel something is off, but still can't explain it. These signs don't look dramatic, but they are dangerous because they feel harmless while the emotional bond weakens underneath. Let's continue. Sign 4. She stops seeking your validation, not in a good way. When attraction is healthy, a woman naturally seeks emotional feedback from the man she cares about. Not approval, but response. She wants to know how you see things, how you feel, how you react. But when the male advantage fades, that curiosity disappears. She stops checking in emotionally, stops caring how you interpret moments, stops looking for your reaction. She tells you about her day or a decision she made, and before you can respond, she already moves on. She isn't waiting for your perspective anymore. This is not independence. This is emotional detachment. Your opinion is no longer anchoring her emotional world, and that's a quiet loss of influence most men miss. Sign 5. She becomes emotionally self-sufficient around you. Attraction doesn't mean dependence, but it does mean emotional exchange. When a woman is connected, she lets your presence affect her mood. She opens. She reacts. She adjusts. But when the advantage slips, she stops letting you in emotionally. She handles her emotions alone. She processes stress without involving you. She shares less, not because she's private, but because she doesn't need your emotional presence anymore. She used to vent, laugh, or relax with you after a long day. Now she tells you she's fine and genuinely seems like she is, without you being part of that process. That independence may look healthy, but in this context, it means the emotional bond is thinning. Sign 6. She responds consistently, but without emotional weight. This is one of the most confusing signs for men. She still replies. She still talks. She still shows up. But something feels missing. Her responses are polite, correct, stable, but they lack emotional weight. No tension, no curiosity, no emotional pull. You message her something personal or expressive, and she replies with something appropriate, but doesn't expand the conversation. No questions back. No emotional direction. Consistency without emotion is not connection. It's maintenance. She's keeping the interaction alive, but not feeding it emotionally. Sign 7. She stops being affected by your absence. This is one of the clearest middle stage signs. When attraction is alive, your absence creates emotional movement, curiosity, missing, pull. But when the male advantage is slipping, your absence creates nothing. No reaction, no tension, no shift. She adapts quickly to less of you. You don't talk for a day or two, and when you reconnect, she acts exactly the same, not warmer, not colder, just unaffected. That neutrality is dangerous. It means your presence no longer creates emotional contrast in her world. And when presence loses contrast, it loses value. These signs don't mean she's gone. They mean the emotional frame is weakening. But now we will go even more deeper into the final signals that show when a woman is emotionally preparing to let go, even while still staying connected on the surface. These last signs are the ones that decide everything. By now, the pattern should feel clear. Attraction doesn't disappear with drama. It fades through emotional shifts most men never track. The final stage isn't loud. It's quiet, controlled, and decisive. These last 3 signs reveal when a woman has already begun emotionally preparing to move on even if she hasn't acted on it yet. Sign 8. She stops emotionally updating you about her life. When a woman is emotionally connected, she keeps you involved. Not because she has to, but because you matter in her inner world. She tells you what's happening, what she's thinking, what's affecting her. But when the male advantage fades, those updates disappear. She still talks, but only about surface things. She stops sharing emotional context, stops explaining how events made her feel, stops inviting you into her inner process. She mentions something big happened at work or with friends, but gives no emotional detail. No follow-up, no curiosity about your reaction. This isn't privacy. It's emotional closure. She's separating her inner life from you, and that separation is intentional, even if unconscious. Sign 9. She begins reframing you as just part of her routine. Attraction lives in contrast. Emotion, tension, presence. But when a woman prepares to detach, she reframes the connection as normal, predictable, routine. You become something she expects, not something that moves her emotionally. She replies on schedule, shows up consistently, keeps things smooth. But the emotional spark is gone. Real-life example. You notice conversations follow the same pattern every day. Same greetings, same responses, same endings. No unpredictability, no emotional variation. That consistency feels safe, but it's not attraction anymore. It's emotional neutralization. She's slowly placing you into a category that doesn't create emotional risk, because emotionally, she's already stepping back. Sign 10. She no longer adjusts herself to the connection. This is the final and clearest sign. When attraction is alive, a woman adjusts emotionally. She considers your mood, your timing, your energy. She adapts. But when she's emotionally letting go, she stops adjusting. She makes decisions without checking emotional impact. She sets boundaries without explanation. She moves according to her own rhythm, not the shared rhythm. Real-life example. She cancels plans without emotional reassurance. She responds late without concern. She speaks more directly, less emotionally. Not rude, not cold, just detached. This tells you everything. When a woman stops adjusting to the emotional field between you, she's no longer emotionally invested in maintaining it. The hidden truth about these signs, what makes these signs dangerous, is not what they look like, it's how calm they feel. No arguments, no breakdowns, no fights, just emotional disengagement. Most men misread this calm as stability. But it's not stability, it's resolution. She's already processed the emotional outcome internally. Now you've seen all the signs, from early misalignment to emotional distancing to final disengagement. But here's the most important part. Understanding the signs is not enough. You should also understand this, the psychology behind why women detach this way, what you should do right now if you see these signs, the biggest mistakes men make that speed up loss, how to regain emotional control without chasing, and the final masculine resolution that keeps attraction intact. Psychology behind it. To understand why women detach this way, you have to understand one thing clearly: female attraction is not maintained by effort. It is maintained by emotional leadership. A woman stays emotionally connected when she feels a man is stable, grounded, and leading the emotional direction of the connection. Not controlling it, not forcing it, but setting the emotional tone. When that tone disappears, her nervous system adjusts. She doesn't argue. She doesn't complain. She adapts. This is why detachment feels quiet. Her mind begins to protect her emotional energy. She reduces investment. She stops reacting. She stops adjusting. Not because she stopped caring suddenly, but because her emotional system no longer feels guided. She may still like you. She may still talk to you. But her emotions are no longer anchored to you. That's why distance stops bothering her. This is not manipulation. It's instinct. Women move toward emotional clarity and away from emotional uncertainty. When a man loses emotional leadership, her attachment system slowly disengages. Understanding this is power. What you do right now, if you recognize these signs, your response matters more than her behavior. Here's what you do calmly, deliberately, without panic. First, slow yourself down. Do not react emotionally. Your calm is the correction. Second, return to emotional consistency. Speak clearly. Respond without urgency. Let your tone be steady. Third, stop chasing reassurance. Do not ask, "Are we okay?" Do not seek validation. Let your presence speak. Fourth, re-anchor your life. Focus on your routine, your goals, your momentum. A grounded man restores attraction without saying a word. Fifth, allow space without tension. Space is not punishment. It's a reset. Give it calmly. Instead of sending another message when she feels distant, you pause, stay composed, and resume communication later without emotion attached. This is how emotional leadership returns. Your mistake when you apply: most men lose women not because they don't care, but because they respond from fear. Here are the most common mistakes. Mistake 1, over-communicating. You explain too much. You justify. You talk when silence would have restored balance. Mistake 2, emotional pressure. You ask for clarity too early. You push for answers. This makes her retreat further. Mistake 3, changing who you are. You become overly available. You abandon your routine. You try to fix things by doing more. Mistake 4, reading into every signal. A delayed reply becomes panic. A quiet day becomes a crisis. Your reactions break emotional stability. Mistake 5. Trying to win her back. Attraction doesn't respond to persuasion. It responds to presence. A man senses distance and sends long emotional messages. She doesn't respond. Not because she's cruel, but because emotional pressure kills attraction. Fear accelerates loss. Calm reverses it. So here is the resolution. Simple, grounded, effective. You stop reacting. You stop chasing. You stop explaining. You return to being the man who leads emotionally by how he moves, not by what he says. You speak when there is clarity. You pause when there is tension. You act from confidence, not fear. When a woman feels emotional steadiness again, she responds naturally. Not because you forced it, but because attraction found its anchor again. This is male advantage psychology. Not dominance, not manipulation, but emotional command. When you hold your center, everything around you stabilizes. If you stayed until the end, this means you're done guessing. You don't need tricks. You don't need games. You need understanding. This channel exists to give you that clarity, so you stop losing women without knowing why and start moving with confidence and awareness. Like the video if it gave you insight. Subscribe if you're ready to grow into emotional strength. This isn't about holding on to her, it's about mastering yourself.